Hello everybody! In this video my partners and I are going to talk to you about the Cold War. In order to make emphasis in this war, we are going to explain the next relevant facts. Firstly, we have the Truman Doctrine. Secondly, the Long Telegram. Thirdly, the Iron Curtain. And finally, the Marshall Plan. So, let's start.
Hello everybody, my name is Andres. Now I'm going to present to you the Truman Doctrine. This was addressed before a joint session of Congress in March 12, 1947 by the President Harry Truman. First of all, let's see who was Harry Truman. Harry Truman was the 33rd President of the United States, succeeding upon the death of the President Roosevelt. He was the President of the United States from 1945 to 1953, and he established the Truman Doctrine that was an intent of the United States that aimed at providing help to Greece and Turkey because of the enormous problems that those countries had after war. On the first hand, we have Greece. Afterwards, the economy was really devastating because Germany destroyed all the railways, the port facilities, the roads, communications, and also the merchant marine, and destroyed more than 1,000 of villages. Because of those tragic conditions, the President Truman decided that the government of the United States must supply that need of Greece and supply that assistance. On the second hand, we have Turkey. Because of war, the future of Turkey as an independent and economically state was in trouble. For that reason, Great Britain and the United States decided to help this country by giving some financial assistance in order to implement that modernization necessary for the maintenance of its national integrity. Basically, that's it. In overall aspects, that was the Truman Doctrine.
George Kennan, the American, shared the first in Moscow, sent a 8,000-word telegram to the Department of State detailing his view on the Soviet Union and USA policy toward the communist state. Kennan's analysis provides one of the most influential underpinnings for America's Cold War policy of containment. Kennan was among the USA diplomats to help establish the first American embassy in the Soviet Union in 1933. While he often expressed respect for the Russian people, his appraisal of the communist leadership of the Soviet Union became increasingly negative and harsh. The telegram provides justification for the Truman administration's new anti-Soviet policy. Kennan played a major role in the development of definitive Cold War programs and institutions. George Kennan divided his opinions into 5 parts. The first one, basic features of post-war Soviet outlook. The Soviets perceived themselves at perpetual war with capitalism. The part number 2, background of this outlook. The Soviets viewed left-wing but non-communist groups in other countries as an even worse enemy of itself than the capitalist ones. Part number 3, its projection in practical policy of official level. The Soviets would use controllable Marxists in the capital world as allies. Part number 4, its projection on unofficial level. Soviet aggression was fundamentally not aligned with the views of the Russian people or with economic reality, but rooted in historic Russian nationalism and neurosis. Part number 5. Practical deduction from a standpoint of as policy. The Soviet government structures inhibited objective or accurate pictures of internal and external reality.
Hi everybody, my name is Ronald, and now I'm going to explain to you about the Iron Curtain speech by Winston Churchill. Well, March 5th, 1946 on the invitation of President Truman, Winston Churchill went to Fulton in America and gave a speech. He said a shadow had fallen on Eastern Europe, which was now cut off from the free world by an iron curtain behind that line. He said, the people of Eastern Europe were subject to Soviet influence, totally controlled and police governments. From Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic has descending across the continent. Behind that line all the capitals of the ancient states of Central and Eastern Europe, Warsaw, Berlin, Prague, Vienna, Budapest, Belgrade, Bucharest, and Sofia, all these famous cities and the populations around them lie in what I must call the Soviet sphere, and all are subject in one form or another, not only to Soviet influence, but to a very high and in some cases increasing measure of control from Moscow. Well, now, some suspicious after the speech appears. We have different beliefs. Well, this caused friction because two sides did not understand each other. They believed that their way of life was better and tended to despise the way of life of the other side. They wanted to prove that their way of life was superior. This game caused them to do things which caused confrontation. In these ways, different beliefs helped to create the whole world. On the other hand, we have different ends, where Britain and the USA wanted to protect democracy and help Germany to recover. They were worried that large areas of Eastern Europe were falling under Soviet control. The Western powers' action caused hostility in Russia, because Stanley feared that they were setting up a strong Germany which might again threaten the Soviet Union. Now, let's move on to the final fact.
Now we are going to see the Marshall Plan. This was established by the General of the Army, George Marshall Jr., who was born on December 31st in 1880 and passed away on October 16, 1959. This was established in 1947. We have to take into account that this man was the General of the United States under the power of the President Roosevelt and under the power of the President Harry Truman. Now on, my partners are going to explain to you in overall aspects the Marshall Plan.
The Marshall's Plan, formerly known as European Recovery Program, a United States-sponsored program designed to rehabilitate the economies of 17 of Western and Southern European countries in order to create stable conditions in which democratic institutions could survive. United States would supply food and other essential products. The countries were Australia, Belgium, Denmark, France, Greece, Ireland, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Portugal, United Kingdom, Sweden, Switzerland, Turkey, Norway, and Western Germany. For 4 years were distributed some $13 million, helping to restore industrial and agricultural production, establish financial stability, and expand the trade. Thanks for watching. See you on the next time.